From research stations on the icy plains of Antarctica to observatories perched on remote mountain peaks, each building in today's video has been designed to withstand the most harsh environments on the planet. Join me for today. I'm counting down 15 amazing structures built in extreme environments. Starting with number 15, Arawan, Mali. There's a number of places that lay claim to being the hottest in the world, but for the place where people live with the most grueling and unending high temperatures, you'll need to go to the town of Arawana in Mali. It's located about 151 miles to the north of Timbuktu. It's on the edge of one of the most unforgiving regions on the planet, the Sahara. The environmental conditions here are harsh. Daytime temperatures can soar, making the heat almost unbearable, while nighttime temperatures can drop significantly, influencing daily life as activities must be planned around the cooler hours of dawn or dusk. Rainfall here is minimal and unpredictable, with long periods of drought, and the scarcity of water makes agriculture virtually impossible. The local economy, which is historically dependent on the trans-Saharan trade, now struggles due to the decline in traditional trading. The architecture of the village features thick mud brick walls which provide insulation from the intense heat, and it retains warmth during the cold desert nights. Water is obtained from deep wells, some of which are ancient and have served the community for generations. The future of this place is uncertain though, as climate change does threaten to make the temperatures even more extreme. In the coming years, these methods will be tested to their limits, and the residents may finally be forced to move elsewhere. Number 14, Bharati Station, Antarctica. Bharati Station, which was built in 2012, is India's third research facility in Antarctica. It's situated in Pride's Bay, along the coast of the Larsman Hills in East Antarctica. It is a modern station that shows India's growing commitment to research in the region. Constructed to withstand the harsh environment, Bharati Station features a modular design that's mainly made up of shipping containers that are specially adapted. The structure is lifted above the ground to protect it from accumulating snow and to minimize its environmental footprint. The position of the station at Pride's Bay is important because of its closeness to the polar front, which is a key area for cold water upwelling and a region of heightened marine biodiversity. The surrounding Larsman Hills provide a unique geological window into the history of the continent, with exposed rocks that are believed to be over 3 billion years old. The combination of the hills and the currents, however, make this a particularly unpredictable place as far as the weather is concerned, and even with such a cleverly designed structure, there's limits to what's possible. The station operates seasonally, mainly during the Antarctic summer months from November to March, when conditions are more hospitable, and during this period the station can accommodate up to 47 people. During winter months, though, it's virtually abandoned, as while the structure may be okay, it's a whole different story for the people that stay there. Number 13, Mponeng Gold Mine, Johannesburg, South Africa. The Mponeng Gold Mine, which is near Johannesburg in South Africa, is the world's deepest mine below ground level. It's one of the richest in terms of the amount of gold that it produces, and amazingly, it reaches more than 2.5 miles underneath the Earth's surface. And at these depths, conditions become extremely challenging. The mine, which was originally called the Western Deep Levels South Shaft, began operations in 1986. It gained fame for not just the depth, but the substantial quantity of gold it produced. But this came at a cost. When you drill that deep, you gotta contend with increasing pressures, high temperatures, and logistical difficulties in ventilation and rock cooling. Inside, the temperatures can reach up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit or about 60 degrees Celsius because of the combination of the geothermal heat and the heat that's produced by the mining machinery. To manage the temperature, an extensive system of ice slurry and chilled water is pumped down to cool the air and even the rock faces in the mine themselves. There's also an ever-present risk of collapse because the sheer pressure of the rock above the mine's tunnels, so to avoid that, the mine uses a method called sequential grid mining, which involves a high degree of planning and precision. This technique helps manage the stress distribution on the rock walls, reducing the risk of any seismic activity. In recent years, the operation has increasingly used automated drills and advanced machinery to extract the ore, which is then transported to the surface via a complex network of elevators and conveyors. For those that do venture inside, there's a number of advanced safety measures to help them avoid trouble. There's a suite of real-time monitoring systems which detect seismic activity, and it ensures the structural integrity of the mining area. But even with these in place, there's always a risk. It is seen as worth it though, because of the value of the gold that continues to be taken from the mine. Technologically speaking, it represents the peak of human achievement when it comes to mining, but it raises questions about the viability and ethics on continuing in this way. Number 12, Rongbuk Monastery, Tibet. Rongbuk Monastery, which is in the shadow of Mount Everest, is in a prefecture in Tibet, and it holds the record of being the highest in the world, at an elevation of over 16,000 feet or 5,000 meters above sea level. This Buddhist monastery was built in 1902 and has been a place of pilgrimage ever since. The monastery's closeness to the north face of Mount Everest makes it a significant point of interest not only for worshippers, but also for climbers and trekkers. Historically, the monastery's been closely associated with the Everest expeditions, serving as the last outpost of human habitation for climbers on the northern approach. This site offers amazing views of the world's highest peak, which is known locally as Mother Goddess of the Universe. Architecturally, it's a blend of traditional Tibetan design. The buildings are constructed using local stone and wood with flat roofs to withstand the fierce wind. Inside, the monastery has a collection of Buddhist scriptures and murals that depict various aspects of Buddhist beliefs. Even with its remote location and the challenges posed by the environment, Rongbuk Monastery remains an active religious site. One of the most significant events celebrated here is the annual Sagadawa Festival, which marks the birth, enlightenment, and death of Buddha. During this festival, the monastery becomes a focal point for festivities that include ritual dances and prayers, attracting devotees from across the region. Number 11. La Oroya, Peru. La Oroya is a small town in the central area of Peru, and it's one of the most challenging places to live on Earth because of the environmental challenges that have been caused by its extensive history of mining and smelting. Located in a narrow valley in the Andes at an altitude of over 12,000 feet, La Oroya grew around a metallurgical complex, which has been processing a significant portion of Peru's metal ores, including lead, copper, and zinc since 1922. The smelting process, which is critical for extracting valuable metals from mined ore, releases large quantities of toxic gases and heavy metals into the air and surrounding ecosystem. These pollutants include sulfur dioxide, arsenic, and lead, posing severe risks to human health and the environment. The effects on La Oroya's environment are visible in the air quality, soil, and the water. Vegetation in and around the area struggles to survive in the soil, and the local river system shows elevated levels of heavy metals. The pervasive air pollution, too, has led to serious health issues among residents, including high levels of lead poisoning. Efforts to reduce these environmental impacts have proven difficult because of the importance of the metallurgical complex to the local economy. This dependency has made it near impossible to implement stringent regulations because of the need to balance economic survival with health and the environment. It's an example of the issues faced by mining towns worldwide, and a place that's becoming increasingly challenging to live in. Number 10. The Republic of Vanuatu, South Pacific Ocean. Now, on the face of it, the Republic of Vanuatu in the South Pacific is kind of an island paradise that many of us would want to live in. The archipelago is well known for its stunning landscapes and vibrant culture, but there's a surprising side to life there. In fact, it often tops the list of the riskiest places to live on Earth, thanks to its extreme vulnerability to natural disasters. Most of this is because of its position on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is a region of heightened seismic activity. It also sits above the boundary of the Pacific Indo-Australian tectonic plates, which not only has massive earthquakes but also causes the country's volcanic activity. Several active volcanoes such as Mount Yasur and Mount Goa pose constant threats of eruption. And if that wasn't enough, Vanuatu's location also places it on the Pacific Cyclone Belt, leading to severe tropical storms every year during the cyclone season. These cyclones can be devastating, as seen with Cyclone Pam in 2015, which was one of the worst natural disasters in Vanuatu's history. Further risks come from rising sea levels as it's a low-lying nation, as well as some flooding, and there's a real risk of saltwater intrusion into freshwater sources, which can jeopardize drinking water. The people of Vanuatu have, of course, developed ways to overcome these challenges. Much of the buildings can resist these storms, but can also be quickly rebuilt if they're destroyed. So much of the nation's resources are channeled towards rebuilding, though, that there's not much future-proofing being done here as the authorities would like. Still, if you get the chance, it's well worth going to, as this is surely the most visitable extreme environment of all. Number 9. Solvay Hut, Switzerland. The Solvay Hut is a small emergency refuge that's at an altitude of 13,133 feet, or 4,003 meters on the rugged north ridge of the Matterhorn mountain in Switzerland. Built in 1915 through a donation from the Belgian chemist Ernest Solvay, who was an avid supporter of scientific endeavors, it was constructed to offer climbers a place of rest and safety during their climb up the mountain. Its location was chosen to be about two-thirds the way up the Harnley Ridge, the most popular route to the summit, and this positioning is vital because this section of the climb is known for its increased difficulty. The Solvay hut itself is a feat of alpine engineering. Given the extreme altitude and isolated nature of where it is, the materials had to be transported by helicopters and by hand with the help of guides. The hut is built to withstand severe alpine conditions, featuring a solid structure anchored deeply into the rocky ridge. It's got just a single room that's equipped with basic wooden benches and can accommodate about 10 people in an emergency. It's not really meant for planned overnight stays, but rather as a life-saving shelter. The existence of the hut shows the risks of alpine climbing. The iconic Matterhorn, in its pyramidal shape, is notorious for its unpredictable weather, steep faces, and the technical skill required to navigate it. Despite the dangers, though, the Matterhorn attracts thousands of climbers every year, and for some, it's the Solvay hut that provides a much-needed refuge. Number 8. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault is an incredible building. It's buried deep within the permafrost of the Svalbard Islands in Norway. At around 810 miles, or about 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole, the facility is designed to serve as a global backup storage center, safeguarding genetic material of important agricultural crops. Established in 2008, the Global Seed Vault is carved into the side of a mountain where it takes advantage of the natural freezing conditions provided by the permafrost. This setting ensures a constant low temperature that's ideal for long-term seed preservation. The vault's location was also chosen for its geological stability and remoteness, factors that minimize the risk of natural disasters or human conflicts affecting its contents. The structure of the vault itself is seriously tough. It's made up of 3 separate vault rooms, each of which is capable of storing millions of seeds. Currently, only one of these chambers is in use, holding samples from nearly every country in the world. Seeds are stored in sealed 3-ply foil packages, and then placed into plastic totes and finally kept on metal shelves inside the vault. The natural cold here helps maintain low metabolic activity in the seeds. This keeps them viable for decades or even centuries. Additionally, the facility is secured with multiple levels of access, ensuring that only authorized personnel can get in there. It is a great example of using an extreme environment to the benefit of the purpose for which it's been built. And even the worst-case scenario of climate change, this region is expected to remain one of the coldest places on Earth for centuries. Moving on to number 7, Mauzinram, Meghalaya State in India. Mauzinram is a small village in the East Khasi Hills district of Meghalaya State in India, and it's a place where the residents have to endure a particular type of weather phenomena to a greater degree than anyone else. Because the region is known for being the wettest place on Earth. This is because of its location in the northeastern part of India, where it faces the full force of the monsoon winds that sweep in from the Bay of Bengal each year. The intense and almost continuous rain defines every aspect of life here, shaping its culture, economy, and even the daily routines of its people. The village receives an average annual rainfall of about 467 inches or over 1,180 centimeters, with most of this falling during the monsoon months of June to September. During that period, the landscape here transforms into a lush, vibrant landscape of overflowing streams and vast forests. But it also brings a significant challenge, such as frequent landslides and flooding that affect transportation and agriculture. The traditional lifestyle of the residents here are closely adapted to these extreme conditions. Houses are built with steeply sloping roofs made of thick grass to withstand the heavy downpours. And one of the most iconic cultural artifacts in the region is the nup, which is a large umbrella-like shield that's made from bamboo and banana leaf and designed to protect against the rain. The locals practice a sustainable form of agriculture that includes the cultivation of rice, which thrives in the waterlogged conditions. The village also sees growth of various species and medicinal plants that are suited to its microclimate. As it is kind of a novelty, tourism is increasingly becoming an important part of this economy too, with visitors wanting to experience the unique weather and beautiful landscape. When you're there, you'll see up close just how challenging a place it is to live though, and how even with adapted buildings, you can never quite escape the feeling of being wet. Number 6. University of Tokyo Atacama Observatory, Chile. The University of Tokyo Atacama Observatory is an astronomical research facility that's at the summit of Cerro San Nantor in northern Chile. With an elevation of approximately 18,500 feet, or about 5,600 meters above sea level, and within a lava dome, it's one of the highest observatories anywhere on Earth. It's this altitude, though, along with the dry atmosphere of the Atacama Desert, that makes it such an exceptional sight to look at the sky. The observatory is a key project of the Institute of Astronomy at the University of Tokyo, and it represents a significant investment. The main instrument at the TAO is the Mini Tau telescope, which is an infrared telescope with a 1-meter diameter mirror. It's specifically designed to make use of the unique atmospheric conditions here to gather clearer and more effective observations in the infrared spectrum than it's pretty much possible anywhere else. One of the main advantages in this respect is the extremely low levels of water vapor in the atmosphere. Water vapor absorbs infrared radiation, so without it, astronomers can observe celestial phenomena that would otherwise be obscured. This allows for the detailed study of star formation within our galaxy, the examination of the center of our galaxy, and the investigation of stellar populations and the makeup of other galaxies too. Operating in this high-altitude environment presents a number of challenges from an engineering standpoint, maintaining electronic and mechanical systems in harsh environmental conditions to ensure the health and safety of personnel at high altitudes. Solutions developed here have already helped to advance practices applicable to other observatories and research facilities in extreme locations, making it an experimental testbed in its own right. Number 5. Oymyakon, Sakha Republic, Russia. While there are places on Earth that people temporarily live that are much colder, Oymyakon, which is in the remote village in the Sakha Republic of Russia, is by far the coldest permanently inhabited place. Positioned just a few hundred miles from the Arctic Circle, it experiences extreme subarctic climate conditions, with temperatures in winter often plummeting below -58 degrees Fahrenheit or -50 degrees Celsius. The village's name itself, which translates to unfrozen water, refers to a nearby hot spring, showing just how unique this landscape is. Oymyakon's geographic and climatic conditions pose unique challenges to the residents and their daily lives. The village lies in a valley which traps cold air, making the winter temperatures even more extreme. And the daylight in winter is scarce, with just a few hours of sunlight each day. Living in Oymyakon truly pushes its people to the limit. The extreme cold affects everything from transportation, with cars needing to be kept running or heated in garages to prevent their oil from freezing, to your diet, which is heavily meat-based with a reliance on reindeer and horse meat, as traditional farming is impossible in such frosty conditions. Even with the harsh conditions, though, Oymyakon is a community with a vibrant culture that's deeply connected to the environment. Winter festivals and ice fishing are popular here, showing residents' ability to not only survive but thrive. Amazingly, the local school only closes when temps hit below -61 degrees Fahrenheit or -52 Celsius, which probably makes them the hardiest school kids on Earth. In recent years, as more people have heard about this village, Oymyakon has also begun to attract some adventurous tourists looking to experience life in extreme conditions. The tourism industry here, even though it's small, provides essential income to the locals, who usually can't believe people would choose to go there for fun. Number 4. Sudbury Neutrino Observatory, Canada. Located near the city of Sudbury in Ontario, Canada, the Sudbury Neutrino Observatory Lab is a pioneering facility that's best known for its research into neutrinos. These elusive subatomic particles, which are nearly massless and they rarely interact with any normal matter, are key to understanding fundamental processes in physics and the universe at large. To do this requires building a facility far away from any interference, and in the case of this lab, it's meant that it's built at the bottom of a disused Vale Crichton nickel mine. At a depth of over 1.3 miles or 2 kilometers below the Earth's surface, there's only one laboratory in the world that's any deeper. The depth of this has proved to be vital, though, as it shields the experiments from cosmic rays and other forms of radiation that could interfere with the sensitive measurements. This facility gained prominence with the original Sudbury Neutrino Observatory experiment, which operated from 1999 to 2006. The experiment was designed for what was known as the solar neutrino problem, a major question in astrophysics, which was where the number of neutrinos that were predicted by our understanding of the Sun was far greater than the number actually being detected on Earth. The work at the SNO involved a 40-foot diameter acrylic vessel containing over 1,000 tons of heavy water, which is surrounded by light water and thousands of photomultiplier tubes to detect the faint flashes of light produced by neutrino interactions. The results were groundbreaking. They provided clear evidence for neutrino movements, which indicated that neutrinos have mass and do change types as they travel from the Sun to the Earth. It did help solve the solar neutrino problem, and it contributed to a new standard model of particle physics, leading to a shared Nobel Prize. Following the success of the initial experiments, the facility was expanded and renamed Snow Lab, and it now hosts several other cutting-edge experiments. These include the studies on dark matter and further investigation into neutrinos. But of course, such a building with such advanced facilities at a depth like this is proved a bit challenging in its own right, with the designers having to create brand new construction methods and machinery just to make it all possible. Number 3. The Aquarius Reef Base, Florida. The Aquarius Reef Base, which is in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, is a pioneering undersea research station that's been at the forefront of oceanographic and marine science since it was first built in 1986. It's located about 5.5 miles or about 8.5 kilometers from Key Largo in Florida and about 62 feet below the surface. Aquarius remains the world's only operational underwater laboratory and habitat, providing scientists and aquanauts a unique and extended access to the ocean environment. The facility is operated by Florida International University, and it's designed to host researchers for missions typically lasting about 10 days, in what are known as saturated diving missions. This method allows divers or aquanauts to live and work underwater for extended periods without the need for decompression each time they return to the surface. This significantly increases the efficiency and scope of the activities, offering incredible opportunities to study coral reefs, fish populations, and other marine events. The base is about the size of a school bus and includes living quarters, laboratories, and a moon pool where aquanauts can enter and exit directly into the water. The interior is compact but equipped with scientific workstations, sleeping bunks, a kitchen, and a bathroom, accommodating up to 6 people per mission. Its position in the coral reef offers direct access to the complex reef ecosystem, making it an ideal spot for conducting long-term environmental monitoring. The research conducted here has contributed significantly to our understanding of coral reef ecosystems. Large-scale studies on topics such as coral bleaching, predatory behaviors among reef fish, and the effectiveness of marine protected areas have been made possible by the facility's unique capability. NASA has frequently used the facility to simulate living and working in the isolated and confined environments astronauts will experience in space, and the missions known as NASA Extreme Environment Mission Ops help astronauts develop skills in teamwork, problem-solving, and technical tasks under conditions similar to those found in orbit. Number 2. Halley 6 Antarctic Research Station. The Halley 6 Research Station is an amazing example of advanced engineering and architectural design, positioned in an exposed location on the Brunt Ice Shelf in Antarctica. It's operated by the British Antarctic Survey, and it opened in February of 2013. It's the 6th iteration of a series of stations at the site, which have each been built to withstand the extreme conditions of the polar environment. The station's design addresses the challenges posed by that location, including temperatures that can plummet below -58 degrees Fahrenheit or about -50 Celsius, and almost complete darkness during the winter months, with one of the cleverest things of the Halley 6 is its mobility. It's built on hydraulic legs fitted with skis. The station can be relocated in response to shifting ice conditions. Halley 6 is made up of a series of linked modules, each with a distinct purpose. These include accommodations for up to 70 people during the summer and around 16 in winter, laboratories, offices, a cafeteria, and some social spaces. While the station's exterior, recognizable by its distinctive blue modules, not only provides thermal efficiency, but it also stands out starkly against the white expanse. Scientifically, Halley 6 is one of the best on the continent, allowing for a wide range of research that has global significance. And it was data collected by an earlier version of Halley, for example, that led to the discovery of the ozone hole in 1985. Today, the station continues to monitor ozone levels as well as investigate the Earth's magnetic field. And unusually for a research station in Antarctica, this one operates year-round, with a smaller crew staying through the harsh winter to ensure continuous data. Winter staff at Halley 6 experienced some of the most severe conditions on Earth, including months of complete darkness and isolation from the outside world, which test the limit of human endurance and adaptability. Number 1. The International Space Station. As we look to explore further out into the universe, the idea of building bases on the Moon or even Mars is becoming all the more realistic. But first though, there's already a space station orbiting Earth, and as far as human endurance goes, it's undoubtedly in the most extreme environment of all. The International Space Station, or ISS, orbits Earth approximately 250 miles or 400 kilometers above the ground, and is a microgravity and space environment research lab where scientific research is conducted in astrobiology, astronomy, meteorology, physics, and various other fields. It was launched in 1988. Building the space station was a monumental undertaking that involved multiple flights and the coordination of the United States, Russia, Canada, Japan, and the member countries of the European Space Agency. It took over a decade to complete it, with contributions from nations around the globe, each adding modules and components manufactured on Earth and assembled piece by piece in low Earth orbit. With both sub-zero temperatures and virtually no pressure to contend with, the habitat parts of the ISS are made up of pressurized modules for astronauts to live and work in, but then also features unpressurized truss segments for structural support, solar arrays for power, and various other components. It would cover the size of an entire football field, making it one of the largest human-made structures in space, and it travels at a speed of about 17,500 miles an hour, or over 28,000 kilometers per hour, roughly making about 15.5 orbits per day. Living on the ISS is unlike anything else. Crew members experience 16 sunrises and sunsets each day, and they live in a state of continuous freefall towards Earth, which does provide the sensation of weightlessness. The station's equipped with living quarters, workstations, and the necessary amenities to support a crew of up to 6 people for missions typically lasting about 6 months. Scientific research conducted on the ISS has led to countless discoveries and advancements. For example, studies on fluid dynamics and microgravity have led to improved models of fuel consumption in engines. The ISS also serves as a test bed for the technologies needed for long-duration human and robotic exploration into deep space, helping us prepare for future missions to Mars, the Moon, and beyond. Still, those on board and those supporting them know all too well how fragile a structure it is, and how one wrong move could jeopardize the safety inside and expose crew members to the unforgiving environment of outer space. Not only was the station carefully built and regularly maintained, but those who travel there are trained to a level that if something were to go wrong, they'd know how to react from pure instinct alone. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.